everybody. I said I'd stop talking about some of the artwork I've got in my house. So this first one's just a postcard in clip frame. It's an old travel advertising poster, which you would have seen from my gardening videos if you watch them, that I actually like old advertising better than I like new advertising. So that's the first one. The second one is a silhouette of me that I had done by a man who was exhibiting at a business show, and he does these with a scalpel and black paper, and it literally took him about 2 minutes to do it. So I just had to stand still while he did it, and he just zipped it out and gave it to me. I didn't have to pay for it at all, which was nice. So this is another one of my pieces of artwork. This was done in a series of workshops based on some 1960s artists. I've forgotten the name of the man who did this style of artwork. It's all based on cubes, so it was like layered. And in this one I've used tourist postcards and a mixture of advertising, films and symbols relevant to the time, like the smiley acid smiley face, and flowers for flower power. That was a ready-made felt piece, but these were stamped out, and that was stamped out of white paper, and then I coloured the middle in yellow. So that's the first one. I have to go back for this one. So this was based on advertising for children's toys. So you can see from the top, they called it Toys of the 1960s, and there's my favourite tin spinning top that I used to have. And then down here I also had this talking doll, Chatty Cathy rather, sorry, and this was my push along dog. I sat on him and played with him so much when I was a little girl, up to the age of about 2, that he fell to pieces. And about 4 years ago I found another exact one of this. It was made by Pedigree. He's blue and white with a red handle and frame, and I asked the man who was selling it how much he was willing to take from me, because he wanted to get rid of it. So I actually got it for, I think it was about £40 or £50. And the only other one I'd ever seen was quite a few years ago in the design centre in Islington, and the girl wanted £85 for it. And the rest of this advert is about my teddy bear, made by a company called Wendy Boston, and this is a copy of, I copied her advert off the internet. I just drew it out freehand and made an exact copy of it. So I still have this teddy bear. He's looking very much worse for wear now, because of course he's nearly 60 years old. So that's that piece. This is yet another piece of the cube art. So there were lots of symbols like this, like squares like this that he did. Again, it's advertising, and advertising of toys, cartoon strips, and just stars and shapes from the time, and I had to put that on there, 1960s childhood. And there's a cinema ticket up the top, and the famous I Spy books. The reason that's on there upside down and some of these diagonal is that was the hallmark of the artist. He didn't put everything on straight up, so it would be angled or turned upside down or turned at right angles. So that's the reason why some of these images are not quite as you would expect to see them. So this one here is based on, we had to pick a year from the 1960s, and although I wasn't around, this is 1963 when we had really severe snowfall, so again you can see things are upside down on a diagonal and a different diagonal there, and it's just sort of things that were pertinent. So we had 20-foot snow drifts, the temperature rose to 17 centigrade on the 6th of the 3rd 1963, Fylingdales in York, which was like a early warning station. People had to be rescued because the snow was so heavy. We had sort of power lines down, and the sea froze on the south coast in Kent, in Herne Bay, and there was power cuts, ice and snow obviously, and the temperature got down to -21 in January 1963, and that was the coldest since 1814. So that was my take on doing the cube art of this artist, completely different to how I'd done some of the others. This one's not cube art, but it's got various bits on it from that time. So about matchbox cars, of course I've got the flowers again and the acid smiley faces. This is a copy of a Southern Electricity Board advert. You've got Thunderbirds, and this is these are off 60-year-old newspapers. I literally traced over the top of the newspaper, and that's obviously Bills of Bournemouth advertising their Father Christmas grotto. And here behind you can see there are pieces of newspaper adverts. That one's for the National Provincial Building Society, so that's this piece. This one was 1967, so this one is things that happened in broadcasting in 1967. So obviously this is around the time that we still had Radio Caroline, or it was being phased out, and you had to improvise with the pieces that you did. So this is a lot cut out of newspapers. So 1, 2, 3 and 4 is to do with the radio stations, and that's obviously an advert for a song. We've got the usual flower and symbols like a transistor radio, and things that you used to get on the radio, like the epilogue at midnight, and remembering that people used to stand up when the national anthem was played, because it always was played on radio and TV closed down. Not so much now. And Auntie is obviously a reference to Auntie Beeb, Auntie BBC. So that's that piece. And this is another of my cube art. So that's to do with space race, obviously, because in 1969 we had the moon landings. These are tourist posters, and then these are adverts for buses. Brook Bond dividend tea, I can remember that just about. Obviously papers that are the psychedelic designs that you would have seen around in the 1960s. This again is another advert, and this is for pink paraffin, and you've got the usual smiley face on there. So that's another attempt at the cube art. On this one I've used more monochromatic colours rather than patterns. So again we've got adverts for toys and cars. Haymarket Theatre, which is my own theatre in my own town. Bubblegum cartoons, and obviously down there I've got Step Into the Swinging 60s and other various psychedelic patterns that you would have seen at the time. So that's that one. Final one, I'm going to have to show you this bit, but this was like sort of like a day in life. So this is all to do with my own town, Basingstoke. So I'll try and move this away so I can hopefully get more of the image in. So this is it. So this should have been the 1960s. Obviously I wasn't born till 1967, so a little bit of artist license. So it includes some of the old shops that we used to have before they moved into the main shopping centre, what our local paper used to look like. That's there because my dad's first job was in a Ford dealership when he left school in 1954. before, and then some of the old logos for shops here. And the whole point was that in the middle I've put that Dad and I went shopping. Now, I used to have this dog called Little Snoopy, and he was a wooden dog with great big red wheels, but when you pulled him along he used to squeak. And I would insist on, apparently, on taking this dog with me. My dad told me later years, he didn't know where to look because everyone was turning round to look at us with me pulling this dog along. And I was probably wearing that outfit that you can see in the middle there, because it was all my mum could do to stop me going to sleep in it, apparently. And it was one of my lots of our family photos have got that, got photos of me wearing that outfit. So that's all I've got for artwork at the moment. I have some more that's on my landing, but at the moment, where I don't have a window on my landing, it's difficult to do the filming because the landing light is shining on the pictures. So I'll have to figure out when I can do that in another video. So thanks for watching this all. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.